你们觉得如果一个人整天都在那边吃一堆肉，然后都没在吃蔬果，这样子吃个好几十天、好几百天，他的身体会发生什么事情？如果你对我刚才提出来的这个问题感到满头问号，有很多想要被解答的疑惑的话，那我相信今天的这场对话会对你来说很有价值，因为这就是我们等一下会探讨的一大主题之一。大家好，我是你们的主持人 Leo 生蛋侠。今天呢，很开心，我邀请到了一位来自澳洲的来宾，他就是影音创作者加肉食性饮食者 Jordi。那待会呢，我会询问他一些我已经事先准备好的问题，请他来跟大家分享他的故事。如果你跟我一样对他有所好奇，想要对他有更多的了解的话，那就不要错过今天这场我相信会非常精彩的对话了。All right, Jordi. So that was my intro. Yeah, basically I was just trying to help the listeners understand better what we will be doing today. Yeah. So are you ready?
Hello, everybody.
Nice. Okay. So let me start with something just very simple. Yeah. So as far as I know, it's like 2 p.m. where you are, right? Okay. So did you already eat anything today?
Yes, actually. And I'm trying something new. So for breakfast, I usually have 4 boiled eggs and 2 beef patties, so ground beef, and I squash it on the pan and it's like a beef patty. But I've been trying something new and I put like some cheese in the middle. I've been putting some blue cheese in the middle of my patty and then I roll it into a ball and squash it down. So it's got like this really soft cheese center. So I had that for breakfast this morning. It's delicious.
Let me summarize what you said. So it's like a cheese patty and some boiled eggs.
Yes.
Okay. Do you feel full?
Very full. And that was early this morning and I'm not hungry yet. So it fills me up. I like to have a big breakfast. Some people like small breakfasts. I like to start my day so I'm not hungry, something big. Yeah.
Sounds good. So can you give us a little self-introduction of yourself? Just tell us some things you would like us to know about you.
Yeah, so my name's Jordi and I live in Australia, down the very, very bottom of Australia in a state called Victoria. And yeah, I guess you probably got me on here to talk about what I'm eating, which is just carnivore, but I wasn't always carnivore. And I've actually gone through many processes of different things eating, like vegan, and I've eaten all sorts of different things. But outside of what I eat, I do like video production, and I help companies that have products, and I help them with their marketing material for their products. That's my day job.
Okay.
And I guess I'm 31 years old. I'm married to my wife, who's from Colombia. So we actually both grew up on 2 sides of the world, and we met in Australia, and now we're still living in Australia.
Okay, that's fun to know. Let's see. Yeah, so I guess my first main question of today is about like your veganism phase. So yeah, when were you vegan?
So my wife, when I met her, she was hardcore vegan, very, very strict. And I wasn't. I was at a stage in my life, maybe I was young and single, and I just wanted to eat whatever I wanted. I didn't really care. I just ate what I thought was delicious at the time. So it was a pretty bad diet, if I was going to be honest. And then my wife really knew that you could change your health through food. She really, really believed in that. And so she really helped convince me to be vegan as well. So we ended up transitioning. It's just easier in the same house that we both eat the same food. And I was vegan as well. And it was actually a lot better than how I was eating before. So it was an improvement. And I didn't mind it. I actually liked vegetables and all that sort of thing. And so we were vegan together for about 4 years. Very
Okay.
strict.
And
Yeah.
when was that?
When?
Like what? Yeah, what year was that?
So we stopped being vegan, I would say last year. So that would have been from 2019 to 2024.
Okay. And
Yeah.
when you say very strict, do you mean like it's only whole food, or it's like you guys never eat animal products?
That's right. So both. So we obviously had no animal products,
Mm.
only and tried our best for just whole foods. So stayed away from like processed foods and things like that. Yeah, basically, yeah.
Hmm. So sounds like before you went vegan, you were just eating like a normal diet, right?
Yeah, pretty
Hmm.
much very typical Western diet. So it was probably a bit of fast food, also just whatever. It was like tuna, and then I would have like cheese on top and mayonnaise. It was pretty rough, but it was just whatever was quick and easy for me to eat.
Hmm. Okay. I see. Was it hard for you to like go vegan? Because
Yeah.
like from my imagination, if I'm just eating a normal diet and you want me to go from that to just like eat only plant foods, it sounds a little bit not easy.
It was. And all my friends and family thought I was crazy.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was quite difficult. It took a long time. Like it was a process of just swapping things out that I would normally eat and swap it for like a vegan alternative, or just cutting it out completely. And so I remember one of the first things my wife really wanted me to stop was having the mayonnaise, and so she would get some other mayonnaise that was more vegan friendly and swap it out, and then swapping out my milk for like an oat milk or a soy milk, and so we just slowly like transitioned over time, and it was quite difficult getting used to um yeah, just having a very restrictive diet, because before then I just would eat whatever I felt like. And so to be able to have that self control was something I had to work on. And but actually, in some respects, I didn't mind eating that way. Actually, so yes, it was difficult, but at the same time, I like salads and I like vegetables and things like that. So we were having a lot of stir fries and things like that, and I actually find it delicious. So I didn't struggle too much, but it was definitely a process.
Hmm. So sounds like the hard part was just that you needed to change your habits.
Yeah, actually, that's
Hmm.
probably a good way to put it. Yeah, the hardest part was the
Hmm.
habits. Yeah.
I see. I see. And what would you say was like the main reason that you were convinced to just like change your dietary lifestyle?
I think I knew I wasn't eating great, and I think I just wanted to eat healthier, and
Mm,
it probably came with maturity too, just to focus on your diet a little bit more, and yeah, see, and I wanted to see like, is this vegan diet? Would I experience anything different? Would much
mm,
change? Because I heard great things about it. So, yeah,
mm. Can you tell us a bit about like some good impression you had about veganism?
yeah, I can. It was a while ago, and so I'm just
Hmm.
trying to remember like how the transition went, and I think not feeling super sluggish, so not feeling really tired or full and run down from having a bad meal versus eating a clean with just the whole foods diet definitely made a difference. Yeah.
Yeah. So you are talking about the benefits you saw, right? After you went
Yeah, I
vegan.
am talking
Yeah.
about the benefits of transitioning from eating whatever to vegan.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. I was trying to understand because you mentioned that maybe um you felt like vegan diet is going to be a good diet. Like you had some like maybe you heard some good things about it. Yeah, can you tell us some things about that? Like what good things did you hear about this diet?
Well, I heard it's the healthy thing to do. So I heard it was really good for digestion. I heard it was I I watched a documentary called Game Changers, and there was a lot of athletes that were doing the
Mm,
vegan diet, and it's like, whoa, all these benefits, and they seem to be performing well. And I can't tell you the specific studies or exactly what it was that um, I was really chasing, but I just it was more of the fact it was like, okay, this is a healthy way of eating. I should eat like this.
mm. So I guess it has something to do with the way you were brought up. Just like
Yeah,
society gives you this feeling.
yeah. Well, probably more my wife. She really
Oh.
convinced me to do it. Yeah, because she was
Mm,
vegan, so she was before vegan before she met me. And
mm,
so she's been vegan for like 10 years. And so she was like convincing me this is the way to eat. This is the way to eat.
mm, mm,
And yeah, I guess you hear it every day, and you start eating like that. And I didn't
mm,
mind.
mm.
Yeah, I really didn't mind eating that way.
Okay. And you saw benefits. Yeah, you can keep on with the benefits.
Yeah, I think so. I definitely was eating a lot better and would just see honestly, like there weren't crazy benefits. It wasn't like change my life benefits, but I was definitely eating better and just feeling better after I would eat is probably the most significant change that I experienced.
Mhm. Okay. So you said like when you first met your wife, she was already a vegan for 10 years. Mm.
So probably total. So she was probably vegan for like 4 or 5 years before she met me.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And um what do you think about her health back then?
What do I think about her health back then?
Mm.
Um, I always saw her as like someone that's quite healthy because she tried to eat as clean as possible, and so that's probably why um, I was more convinced of doing it because she was quite healthy and looked healthy, and she doesn't get sick often. And yeah, I guess I just saw her as like the example of eating healthy and looking good and feeling good. So yeah.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, so that can be a good reason for you to want to go vegan, I guess.
Yeah, that
Mm.
pretty much sums it up.
Mm. Okay. Can you tell us a bit about what you were eating when you were a vegan?
Yeah. Yeah, so we loved mushrooms. My favorite were green vegetables too, but we used to love going to like markets where they would sell mushrooms and they would sell all these different shapes and sizes, and every different mushroom would have a different taste. And we loved mushrooms. So we would eat a lot of stir fries. So we'd chop vegetables and just fry them in a wok and add some soy sauce, but kept it quite just the vegetables. But yeah, we loved things like sweet potato. We loved mushrooms, all the varieties, and green veggies were my favorite. Absolutely, I just yeah anything green.
Mm.
I ate it, so lots of spinach as well.
Mm. Okay. What oil were you guys using?
Oh, oh, this is so funny going back and talking about everything we used to eat because it's
Mm.
like it's so different. So yeah, we would use like unfortunately we would use things like canola oil, sunflower oil, olive oil. Yeah, that's what we would use. Yeah.
Mm, okay. So, sounds like it wasn't going to be too hard for you guys to eat out because, like, I feel like a problem for many carnivores is that everything is in seed oils. But if you didn't care about seed oils or like didn't pay attention to that back then, maybe it wasn't too hard to eat
No,
out.
I had no idea that seed oils could be ever be a problem. I thought that they were healthier because
Mm-hmm.
they're from a seed, and I thought, well, nuts and grains and all these things, they're good for us. Actually, another thing I used to love eating was I would make my own granola. So I would chop up all my own nuts, and then put it with some honey and have some. Well, I wasn't having yogurt then. It was just we kind of had a transition period, but yeah, I would do these things where I thought this was healthy. So we thought it came from a seed, it would be healthy.
Hmm. Okay.
Mm.
So I guess you guys were making your own food most of the time.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
correct? Mm.
yeah.
But when you guys like ate out, it's not too hard.
That's right. And in Australia, we there are a lot of restaurants that cater to vegans as well.
Mm.
So it wasn't hard to eat out, but we tried to eat at home as much as we could,
Mm.
because we didn't want all our food covered in oils and things
Mm.
like that, which you can really experience when you eat out. We preferred to minimize the amount of oil that we used, just because of the fat content. And yeah, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Mm. I see. Okay. So how did you become aware of carnivore?
So we were vegan, and then we had a transition period where we started introducing things like eggs was like one of the first things that we started including in our diet, and then salmon, and then maybe some chicken. And so during this time, I had some pretty severe health problems, and I was going to the hospital, because I was struggling with my digestion. And so, um, what we ended up doing was we heard that fiber is really good for digestion. And so we were like trying to get as much fiber into our diet as possible. And so we thought, well, we're just coming. When I say we're coming off the vegan diet, it's just because we were starting to include more things in our meals, but we were eating very similar. So it was like we're still having those stir fries and those green vegetables, the mushrooms, and all of that. We're just adding some protein into it. That's pretty much what we did. But we wanted to cut out all processed foods. So we stopped buying those milk alternatives, like the almond milk or oat milk or things like that. And we started making it our own. So we were making our own almond milk so that we could avoid all the seed oils. And so we wanted to eat very clean, no processed food at all, because I was trying to fix some issues with my digestion. But unfortunately, so um, things didn't improve. Actually, they started I would get a surgery, it would fix it for a little bit, and then yeah, I would start to get the same problems. So we're at a point where we're like, something's got to change. We strongly believe that we can fix our health through food, and so we think, well, okay, maybe our food has to change because I can't live like this. I can't it was pretty bad. So we've heard that the carnivore diet has helped people in the past. People like Jordan Peterson and things like that who had very serious health concerns, and then they were able to fix it by just eating meat. And it just seemed so crazy. We were vegan at the time when we heard about this, and we were wondering, yeah, well, that must be really good if you have very serious concerns. They must just be allergic to a lot of food for them to be able to do this. But when we started to go through some health problems, and we start, okay, well, let's look into this diet. And so then when you start researching about it, you're hearing other people's stories that had very similar issues to mine, and that this was able to fix it. And so that was at the point where we're like, well, this is something that we got to at least try and see. Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like in the beginning you were eating a kind of vegan diet with a little more processed food, and then you got some digestive problems. So you decided to clean up your diet a little more by adding more protein and like cutting out more processed food.
Yep.
Okay. But so I guess like throughout all this time, you were always aware of carnivore. You just didn't think too much of it.
Yeah, I was aware that people were doing it. Actually, in fact, my brother-in-law was doing it as well, and I think I thought he was crazy at the time. I was like, "Oh, you must feel so terrible, only eating meat, no vegetables." Like, just thought he was, a bit crazy. But he did say it's the best he's ever felt, and so you're like, "Oh, okay," but we just thought, okay, that's for them, that's not for me.
Okay. So when you were like struggling with your digestive problems and it didn't get better, you like realized you had this option.
Yeah. Yes, we had this
Okay.
option, and we looked online and was like, okay, we should do this. We should give this a go. And let's worst case scenario, we prove it wrong, and we can just always go back to what we were eating. Yeah.
Sounds good. Can you like elaborate on like how bad you were feeling when it comes to like your digestive issues?
Yeah, so I would bleed every time I would go to the bathroom. And so this got to a point, it's been actually happening for years, but it was becoming more regular, and then it was becoming every day. And then I was starting to lose a lot of blood. So the worst day or the worst week, I was just extremely run down. You could have seen me. I was like white as a ghost, and I was extremely dizzy, and I had headaches. And I don't normally get dizzy or anything like that. So this was strange. And I'd go to the doctor, and the doctor said, "You need to go to emergency right now," because I did a blood sample, and they realized that I was very, very low in blood. I just didn't have much. I was losing too much, and so I was really like, I was knocking on death's door without even realizing. I guess maybe this is just a bit of my personality, but if I have like a health problem or something, I tend to just ignore it and just push it away and just hope that it fixes itself. But this got to a point where it was really, really severe, and I ended up staying a few days in hospital, and I had to get a blood transfusion so that it would bring me back to life. Basically, the doctor saved my life, but this whole time we're talking to the doctors and asking, "Hey, is this food related?" And they're saying, "No, this is not food related. This is some other issue. This is something that we can fix with surgery." or worst case scenario, you take some laxatives or you take a fiber supplement. But no, this is not food related. And every doctor we would talk to was just like either medication or surgery. And it is a real problem, I think, with the medical system in where we live in Australia, because it's very interesting comparing the medical system with my wife's in Colombia. They treat food as with a little bit more importance. So, anyways, I got the surgery, I got fixed up, I recovered, and so that's when we were like, we are eating super clean, high fiber, no processed food. We're going to fix this, and it didn't fix it. The problems started to come back again, and so that was really the catalyst. It was like, well, no, I'm not going down this road again, because the surgery is extremely painful. The recovery is horrendous. I do not want to go down that road again. I want to fix this before getting to that point where I have to go to the doctor.
Okay. So, would you say you started to like develop some health problems after you went vegan? Like before that, did you struggle with any health problems?
I had this issue before I was vegan.
Oh, mm,
Yeah, it wasn't as regular. It was, and I don't know. I would have to put a lot of thought into if vegan made it worse or caused it, but it did progressively get worse. And it might actually be to do with the fiber that I was actually eating. That's kind of what I'm really discovering now, because I mean, I'm still new into this whole carnivore journey, but I would say I did have this condition beforehand, so I didn't cause it, but it didn't seem to help it either.
Okay. So you had this problem that you really want to fix, and you just thought carnivore might help it. Okay.
Yep.
I know, like, you started to document your journey on day one, and you wrote down your expectations, right? Did you already feel like, I'm going to improve my health before you go carnivore, or it's just like out of curiosity?
It was purely out of curiosity. So I had heard that everyone could fix these things. So I was like, well, I struggle with these things. They're on my list too. But I wanted to post about it from day one, because I wanted to let people know, whoever was going to listen, whether this is legitimate or not, because I'm like, I'm going to start this and I'm going to tell the truth. If nothing happens, I'm going to say it. Like, I have no ties to any of this. This was a brand new account. This isn't like I started literally with zero. So I didn't care if, it didn't work and I upset everybody and said carnivore diet sucks. I would have said it. And so I had some expectations of what it did for other people. So I was like, well, let's see if this does the same for me. And like, I can go through that. That was like things like, I wanted to fix my brain fog. Well, I heard that it could clear the mind and clear brain fog. I thought I was feeling fine. Like, I didn't realize I had brain fog, but I heard it can clear brain fog. So I was like, okay, that sounds good. I'll take some of that. Can fix bloating. Obviously, my digestive problems. I had some eczema on my face that was pretty severe. It would get really, really red, dry, and flaky. I wanted to fix that. And there were some other things, probably lose a bit of weight too. And high energy, I've heard that. So that was what I heard. That's what everyone else was saying. Well, I was going to put it to the test.
So you just like wrote down some things people reported got better on carnivore, and
Yeah,
you wanted to see if you experienced the same thing.
exactly. Yeah.
I want to say it's very smart of you that you did this, because I think this is so meaningful. Yeah, because like, a little bit about my story. So when
Yeah.
I first went when I first went carnivore, I didn't have expectations, but I saw a lot of improvements. So whenever I want to like think back about what happened, it's kind of hard. Yeah, but
Oh, right.
you
So
can.
you didn't document it, so you're trying
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
remember. Exactly right. And same with when I started vegan, I was like, oh, can't really remember exactly what the differences were, but I do remember some. And you were vegan as well, right?
Oh, I wasn't.
You weren't vegan.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Oh, okay. Well, good for you.
Okay. But like, I don't know who are going to be listening to this, but like, I highly recommend you to like document your experience if you want to try like a new diet. Yeah, I think it's very very worth it. And when you want to like talk about your story, you have like clear memory.
It's true. It's true. I used my TikTok. That's where I started, and I would just post a video and I would just talk like, "Hey, this is how I'm feeling today." I remember day 5, I was not feeling too hot, and I just said it. And day 1, like, "This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm eating." It's actually really helpful to go back and remember. Oh yes, I remember the first week and the struggles and things like that. But that was like my very public diary, but even just writing something down on like a pen and paper would be amazing to go back and remember how you used to feel as well. I've almost forgotten how I used to feel before the carnivore diet. And that's interesting to go back and remember.
How would you describe your health state on like day 1 of carnivore, or like just right before you started carnivore?
Well, so we were eating probably the best we've eaten at that point, the best to our knowledge of what we should be eating. And like I was okay. Like I wasn't like in terrible shape. The bleeding in when I went to the bathroom did come back a little bit, so that was concerning. But it wasn't like yeah, I wasn't. I was still working. I was working out every day, um, but there were some issues that I was struggling with, like my eczema, like some bloating. Um, I had pretty severe gas, like all day. Like I would just fart all the time. It was just like constant, and I just thought that was me. But yeah, it's just interesting all these things that I would
Mm.
struggle with that I just thought was kind of normal or just part of everyday life. Um, yeah, was what I would. It's actually not right because it went away.
Mm. Okay. So sounds like you were trying to use carnivore as more like a preventive measure at that time. Like your health
Yes,
wasn't like the
yes.
worst. Mm.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
I was exercising, I was healthy, I was working, doing everything I wanted to do. But this was preventative because I could see the trajectory of
Mm.
where my issues were going. And I've already been down that road and I don't want to go down there again. Yeah.
Mm. It's good for you. I feel like many people are okay with just like constantly deteriorating.
Yeah. Well, it, I'm not sure why they would want to do something like that, but I think people like food a little bit too much. Maybe they like their processed food and they just find
Mm.
that starting a diet can be quite extreme. And I used to think like that. Like I would never be vegan. I would never do that. Like I just want to eat what I want to eat. Um, and but there is a lot of benefits if you have self control. But maybe some people just like food so much that their whole bodies would deteriorate in the process.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I'm always happy to hear that someone cares about their health. It's very inspiring.
Very,
Yeah.
very important. I think I have experienced like when you lose your health. When I was at my worst, when I just before going to hospital, when you lose your health, you really experience you realize the importance of your health. and it's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to ever be in that state ever again where I couldn't walk around, I couldn't see my friends, I couldn't exercise. I was just stuck in the house, and you never want to be in that position again. Like, I think it does wake you up. It gives you a bit of a scare, but that was actually good for me because it got me on the right road. Yeah.
Mm, okay. Like a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So like before you went carnivore, did you do a lot of research? Because I feel like it's like normal people needs to do some research to feel more safe, you know?
Absolutely. I would say do some research because I think you'll realize that it's not as extreme as maybe you might think right now. I did do some research and was just looking at it on the side. But I would also say sometimes you can get caught up in the research and not actually just give it a go. I think there's nothing better than just trying something. So I did do a little bit, and we were kind of planning on doing it a couple of months later. But we actually pulled it forward because so I read online that the topical steroid creams that I was using on my face to fix my eczema, actually your skin can become addicted to it. And what happens is it makes the problem worse. So it would get rid of it, but then a couple of weeks later, it would come back and it would come back worse. So the doctor gave me this cream, and I didn't realize that this is actually making my skin worse over time. And so when I realized where that road leads, and this is on my face, so this is something that I can't hide or wear different clothing. This is something that I'm just going to have to live with. Everyone sees it, and so that really was the catalyst. Was like, I've heard the carnivore diet can help with eczema, and so as soon as I saw that, I said, okay, next day I'm starting this. And so it really helped me push me over the edge and just get started. So I hadn't actually done as much research. Maybe I didn't fully understand carnivore. I just knew that it can help in lots of different areas. I knew a little bit. I think I knew enough that I just went to the shops. I bought as much meat as I thought I needed, because it's also like, how much meat do you eat? Like going to the shops for the first time when this is the only thing you eat. So I just bought so much stuff, and also you're learning about different cuts of meat, all sorts of stuff. And so yeah, so we did jump into it quite premature, but it's also, so I would say yes, if you're skeptical, you should read about it and see what people say about it, but also jump in there because you can figure it out as you go.
I would say sometimes the best proof is just what happens to people after they try it. You don't need to think about all these theories.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's
Like you
true.
can talk about how not eating plants can give you constipation all you want. But if people are not getting constipated, then you are just not entirely correct.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. It's so funny. Like, yeah, when people are telling me that I need fiber and everything, it's like, well, I tried that.
Why?
I tried the fiber. It didn't
Mm.
work. Yeah.
So sounds like in the beginning you were not like you were a little bit clueless, like you didn't know exactly how to go about this diet.
Yeah, still am clueless, but no, I was definitely I knew a bit. Um, I knew probably the basics. Like I knew what I needed to eat. I knew that it can help with certain things, and so I knew that I needed to cook with like animal fat instead of the seed oils, and yeah, and I knew what I could and couldn't eat, and also, but I did actually start to learn as like electrolytes was still a bit confusing because everyone say you need electrolytes, and I didn't really understand what that meant, because to me electrolytes was like the energy drinks that you would buy in the shops, like the Powerade. We call them Powerade and Gatorade. And they all advertise that their drinks have the electrolytes. So I was like, is that what I need to be drinking? But I don't see anyone drinking Gatorade. And so I don't know what they meant by electrolytes. And what they actually meant was like you need to increase your salt intake. Make sure you having lots of salt because your body will need it on the carnivore diet. So by day 5, I was like, I was quite fatigued, and I actually posted about it. And then people were telling me, hey, more salt, well, more electrolytes. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean by electrolytes? Well, they mean like salt, magnesium, and something else. I still don't even know. But mainly salt generally is what you need. And so that was also a great thing, is that I was posting about what I was doing, and people were commenting and helping me along the way.
That's true. Yeah, I was going to point that out. Nice. So in the beginning, you weren't like eating salt, like on the first 5 days?
I guess we thought salt wasn't good for you. Like that has been like, sodium is not good. Too much salt is not good. I don't know where I learned that from. That's just what was in our minds. And so when we were eating vegan, we would very rarely add salt to our meals. And so adding salt to what we were eating was something that we had to get used to.
And you felt the difference?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, just the other day, I was feeling run down, and my wife's like, you probably need more salt. And so now I will put some salt under my tongue, and then maybe wash it down with some water, and I pick right back up. I'm good again. My headache goes away, my fatigue goes away. And so it really, really helped. So in the early stages, I might be feeling a bit fatigued and run down, but then I tried putting salt in water, and that was horrible. That was absolutely disgusting. So I'm never doing that again. And so what we ended up doing was adding a lot more salt to our meals, and it makes the meal taste better, and you're also getting electrolytes. So that worked for us.
I see. Okay. Would you say there are some resources that really help you understand how to go about this diet? Or just like the comments from the viewers?
Yeah, they really did help along the way.
Nice.
And so I think if you're worried medically about maybe things like cholesterol and whatever concern that you might have, maybe even fiber, not having fiber. I was listening to a guy called Sean Baker. And so he's been on a few podcasts and stuff, and he seems like really in tune because he's a medical professional. So he can help you with those medical concerns about why you should try the carnivore diet. And then practically, I think it was probably a collection of everybody that's in this sphere. I'm trying to think of one person, but it was a collection. I would just take bits and pieces of what people were talking about and different meal ideas and things like that. Yeah.
So it sounds like you are just following some carnivore creators, and that help you understand it more.
That's right. And I really did my own thing. I wasn't following any sort of plan or anything like that. I just knew what I needed to eat. And then I heard that also you don't really need to weigh your food or anything like that. Just eat until you're full. And that's usually a pretty good guide on just how much to eat. Put some salt on there and you should be good. It's not a very complicated diet. It looks crazy and looks hard on the outside, but once you get into it, you're like, okay, this is actually pretty easy.
I guess it wasn't too hard for you to like transition to carnivore because you were already not really eating processed junk.
True. That's a good point. And I was used to restrictive diets like the vegan diet. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good point. And I think I probably went through the hardest part of it was transitioning to vegan, but I was like had to swap certain foods out and transition and learn how to really control what I eat.
Did your wife go carnivore with you?
Yeah, she did.
Hmm.
And so that's incredible because she was vegan for so long and strongly believed in being vegan. Like it was,
Mhm.
yeah, she really, really believed in it. But I think she saw how my health was deteriorating and realized that maybe this isn't the best thing and that we should try something else. And so we had already started introducing meats and eggs and everything like that. And so, and she did her own research too, and she found that, yeah, it seems like the way to go. So she did a little bit of a transition. I went next day, I'm only eating carnivore. And so she transitioned over about a week. But then we've been both on the carnivore diet for like 3 months now.
Hmm. Okay. Do you need to go to a company? I'm just trying to like figure out how you like try to
My
stay on
job?
track.
Do I need do I go to a job? Is that what you're
Oh,
asking?
yeah, because like if you need to go to a company, like I guess meal prepping can be more tricky. So I'm just trying to
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, so I am very lucky in the sense that I work from home, and
Hmm.
so I don't need to take a lunch, but I know that the carnivore diet can be quite tricky. If you, especially if you work in a trade or a builder or something like that, where you have to take like a lunch. And so my dad is actually on the carnivore diet and he's a builder. And so we've been talking about this. So he takes some like pre-cooked, I think he takes some pre-cooked turkey with some butter and a few boiled eggs. So
Does
pre-cooked, sorry, I just had something
Okay,
popped
I
up.
found this on the web.
Uh, you could do like a pre-cooked mince or something like bowl of mince or something like that. But I am lucky in the sense that I can just I have access to a full kitchen and I can cook something at home.
how many meals do you eat a day on average?
So I've been eating 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I like to have a big lunch, a bit of a smaller, uh, big breakfast. Sorry, bit of a smaller lunch, and then a bigger sort of dinner. But what I've been noticing lately is that I've actually been not needing to eat as much. And so for the last week, we've probably been eating 2 meals a day, which if you knew me, you would think that, yeah, I'm a different person because I love eating. I love eating as much as I want. But on this diet, you're just not getting as hungry as you would normally do. And so I'm noticing my meal sizes and my portions are shrinking just naturally. I can eat more if I want, but I'm just not hungry.
Hmm. Okay. And sounds like maybe your dad eats 2 meals a day.
Yeah, so he's eating two. I think he would have like a small breakfast, a lunch, and then a dinner. But so that's
Oh.
three. But
Hmm. So like he
he's
eats
going
one
he's going
meal
between
at
two and
work.
three. Yeah. Oh, sorry. What'd you say?
Oh, like one of his meals he eats at work,
Yeah.
and he brings food there in advance.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. But I guess like yeah, it's not going to be too hard if you really want to like stay on track. If you have the mindset.
That's exactly right. And I could
Yeah.
imagine like in Taiwan there would be some pretty awesome food that you could eat, you could buy while you're out, like at the office or whatever. You could buy some chicken or something like that. I could imagine like there are options like for us, if you go to a cafe, you can get bacon and eggs or something like that. So there's always a way. It may not be cooked in, it might be cooked in seed oils, but if you're desperate, there's something.
Okay. So can you tell us a bit like what benefits have you seen over time? I know you kind of mentioned it, but can you go over it in more details?
Yeah, absolutely. So I remember it was about the second day that I realized that this was quite different from what I've experienced. I think I first noticed the difference in my mind, like the mind clarity and the energy and focus that I had. It's like day 2 or 3, I couldn't believe how much energy I had all throughout the day. And it really helped me focus at work as well. I think it was by that day where I was like, I really, really like this because it allowed me to work better. And because I work for myself and run this my own business, if I can focus more and be more productive, that's really, really helpful for me. So I loved that. So that was day 3. Obviously, by the day 1, no bloating, just no bloating, just gone, no more. And then it was like the first week, I think I went to the bathroom twice in a week. And so that was very interesting to me because this was giving my digestion a rest. And I was like, I really like this because before that, going to the bathroom could be quite a painful experience. And it would take me a long time. It would be like 30 minutes, and now it was quick. And so this is not like a great topic to talk about, but it's like it was very revolutionary for me, and it's really changed my life. So, and there are probably more people out there that do struggle with this, and not many people talk about this sort of thing. But yeah, so the first week I only went to the bathroom twice, and that was awesome. And then as it became, my body became adapted to it and more regular, it was just like easy. There wasn't much there, which is also a benefit. So with fiber, your body just doesn't use it, so it just pushes it through your body, and so there's a lot of volume. Whereas on the carnivore diet, your body absorbs most of what you're consuming, so there's not much waste. And so for someone like me, where I noticed such a significant difference, it's like a painful versus non-painful, I was like sold, like this is incredible that this diet can really help my digestion, give it a rest, but also if I need to go, it's just easy as. So that was like straight away, I knew that like in the first 2 weeks. But I loved how it just cleared my mind. That was just the best thing. And I never experienced anything like that. I had never experienced such a radical change in how I felt when even going from a bad diet, like eating whatever, fast food, to veganism. I didn't experience a change like this. This was something different. This is something I've never experienced in my life.
So your digestion and your mental clarity improve very quickly.
Yeah,
And
very
I know you
quickly.
mentioned in your video your what else? You stopped farting a lot.
Yeah, that was crazy. So I would just wake up the day and the whole house would shake because when I would wake up, it would just erupt, and I just didn't need to do it anymore. It just wasn't there. The gas wasn't there. And another interesting thing that happened is my snoring stopped, which is something that I was completely shocked by. It's like, hang on a minute. I've always snored all my life. And now, just because by what I eat, I don't snore anymore. I don't know how, how they're connected, but I snore. I just didn't snore anymore, which is wild. And yeah,
Did your wife tell you this? How did you figure out you
she
stopped
did.
snoring?
Yeah, she did. As like, if I had taken an afternoon nap or something, she would know because I would be snoring. And so I think it took us a few weeks to find out that I actually don't snore anymore. Is when there was one time I took a nap and she was just like, "You didn't snore once," and that's not like me at all.
Mhm. I think this is pretty important because like snoring is a problem that can affect others. So you are fixing your own health, but you are also helping others. You know what I mean?
Well, that's right. Like so I just before this, I was diagnosed with sleep apnea, and so I didn't expect the carnivore diet to help my sleep in any way. I just didn't know that, and so is now starting to really help my sleep apnea, which is something that is completely unexpected. And I did a test before the carnivore diet. I'd love to do another test and see how things have improved. But the fact that I'm not snoring probably means I'm probably sleeping a bit better too.
Mhm. Okay. Do you feel a little bit like angry at doctors? Just average doctors in general.
My wife's angry at doctors, that's for sure. She's fired up. She she doesn't, yeah, she really struggles with the fact that they don't try and get to the root cause of the problems. And I'm frustrated too. It's disappointing that at when I was really struggling with my health, at no point did anyone try and fix what was causing this. No one was talking about what got me to hospital. They were just like, "You're in here, fix, Band-Aid. All right, you're good. See you later." But no one was trying to like think, "Hey, let's do something so you never have to come back to hospital ever again." Um, I think it's just how they're trained. So and maybe their incentives too. So I'm upset, but I'm probably more upset with like the system of it versus like the individual doctors. I just think they're probably just trying to do their best, and they see 100 patients a day, and the easiest thing to do is just to give them a pill and then send them on their way. I think I also think maybe as people, we do need to be our own doctor. I think we need to look after ourselves, and because it doesn't seem like the system will look after you, it doesn't seem like someone else will put as much care and thought into your health as much as you do.
Okay. I like your mindset. You are more like forgiving, I guess. Yeah. This is like something I feel like I had to learn.
Mm, yeah, or else you can't live like that, angry at the world. You gotta, yeah, you just gotta, and you also have to take responsibility for your own life and your own health too.
You mentioned that your wife is angry. Is she angry because she saw that you were struggling or because of other reasons?
Yeah, I think she saw that I was struggling, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that upset her. Also, I think she has seen a different way of doing things. So, in Colombia, where she's from, they very much into food can help, and so and her family as well. So they will, if you're not feeling well or have a headache, they'll like say, "Oh, you should eat this, or you should try and have this," rather than just reaching for the I'm trying to think. So we call it Panadol, we call it Nurofen. I'm trying to think what's the actual chemical. Anyways, the headache tablet. If you have a headache, maybe you could fix it through other things. And so she is disappointed in the medical system here that all they wanted to do was prescribe me a laxative or do a surgery, when seems culturally in where she's from is that they will talk about food, talk about what you're putting into your body, as well as the surgeries as well. So
Mhm. So she feels like the doctors in Colombia could have helped you better.
I think she would probably think that. Yeah, she would.
Okay. But I don't know the situation in Colombia, but because the thing is, many doctors, they are thinking about food, but their philosophy is still that meat is not very good for you. Fruits and veggies are better. So if they are operating under this kind of thinking, you can still not help people to like a very meaningful degree. I
And
feel like.
that's the truth. I think seems to be what we're doing seems to be a bit of like cutting edge. We might be one of the first to really experience this. It also goes against what we have been told is what's healthy, is fruit and veg. And this is what I'm going through right now, because I'm like, so do I not eat fruit and vegetables for the rest of my life? That seems crazy, right? But this is the best I've ever felt. My health has never been better. Healing my body. So does that make fruit and vegetables unhealthy? And so no doctor, well, no, just ordinary doctor is going to tell you that, because I think maybe there needs to be more research, and maybe there are reasons why they're trying to demonize meat, and that's when you start to get into conspiracies and all sorts of things. But it has been demonized as, oh, you should reduce how much red meat you're having, don't have too many eggs, and things like cholesterol, like learning that cholesterol is actually good for your brain. And so, I mean, look, I'm just a guy that's doing this for 3 months, so I'm no doctor, but how can you say that this is not good for me when this is healing me and it's the best I've ever felt in my life?
Can you talk a bit about your improvements when it comes to your skin and teeth? If you saw.
Yeah. Yeah, so my eczema, obviously we spoke about how this is, so I've got not using any sort of steroid cream or anything like that. And my skin would not look like this if I had to use those creams. So this is the best my skin has ever looked without, while being on the carnivore diet. So it's healing it. And what's interesting, over Christmas, I had a couple of bad meals, just a couple of naughty meals. And immediately I started to break out on my face. Immediately I was like, eczema flared up. It's like, whoa, okay, that's interesting. That it is definitely food related. And my teeth, I was just noticed this like last week. Every time I'd brush my teeth, my gums would bleed. And so now they don't bleed. They don't bleed at all, which I think my gums have always sort of bled when I would brush them, but not anymore. And so this is a new thing. I was like, okay, so this diet helps your gums now. This is getting crazy, guys.
Let's see. Yeah, so like you mentioned, your wife, she went from like a long time vegan to like doing this with you. Like, what do you think is the main reason she decided to like give this a try?
I think she saw that just the vegan diet did not seem to be just did not seem to be working for me. And she actually, this is a funny story, but she started having, when she was vegan, she started having dreams of eating a lot of eggs. And she really, like, multiple times of the day, she would dream about eating eggs. And she saw this as her body maybe telling her something, like, maybe we should eat eggs. So that was the first thing that we introduced, was eggs. And so, and then she didn't have any sort of dreams about meat or anything like that, but we just took it as maybe an indication of something. And so she saw that maybe the vegan diet wasn't really helpful. And so, but her core belief wasn't in veganism. Her core belief was that you could fix your health with food. And so she was always looking for how can we be the healthiest we could be, and avoid any sort of health problems if we eat the right thing. And so luckily that she was quite open-minded and wasn't she didn't see like the veganism as her religion. This was just something that she believed at that time was the healthiest thing to do. And so, but her core belief was like, no, food can make us feel amazing. It can heal us, and it can make us healthy.
That makes sense. That's because like if you are more religious about this, maybe it will be harder.
Absolutely. And I think
if you are just trying to like,
you go.
Oh yeah, like if you are just trying to optimize yourself, it would make sense that you want to change from like vegan to carnivore, I guess, because like the results are just there.
Exactly. That's exactly right. But I think a few people run into the trap of it becomes their identity, maybe, that being vegan, and because people knew that we were vegan and would make fun of us or whatever that we were vegan, it can become your identity. Is like, oh, we shouldn't change our diet because that's what we're known as, and we have to prove that this is the best diet and we made the right decision. But it also takes some humility to be like, actually, we were doing the wrong thing. Now this is what we're doing. So if there's something else that comes along that's better than the carnivore diet, well, I'm all ears. But at this point in time, I'm pretty convinced.
Like you are still open-minded.
Yeah, you have to be. You have to be,
for sure.
right? you want to stay up to date, but also I can't deny how I'm feeling. So if people start saying, well, they do the carnivore diet and they made this slight change, maybe even you've heard of the lion diet, right? So it's just red meat only. And maybe that's the ultimate level. I don't know. That's not what I'm doing. But there are variations and changes that I'm open to. But yeah, if I need them.
Okay. So let me kind of summarize the benefits you have seen so far. So obviously your eczema became better, and your gums stopped bleeding, and different aspects of your digestive health improved. So things like your bowel frequency, and just like bloating issues, and then your snoring problems, and your like mind is sharper now. Okay, sounds like your favorite one is this part, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because it affects you every day. It affects how you feel all day. And it was just really, really awesome. Yeah, because I guess I would probably struggle with focus sometimes in the past. It was just something that I had to work really, really hard on through like productivity hacks and making lists and doing things like that to stay focused. Changing your diet can also help, and it beats any productivity hack. It was just unreal. Yeah.
I feel like many people need to hear this. People are focusing on the wrong thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, and now, I don't know about you, but when you go to the shops, the supermarket, and you look around and you're looking what people are buying and eating and putting their body, and you're just like, you're concerned for them. You're like, oh no wonder like we're all getting sick, you know? I feel sorry for them. It's like, oh my goodness, you go to the supermarket and the carnivore diet, we only get one section, one little section, that's us, and we just hang out in there. But then all the rest, it's like, oh my gosh, all the rest is poison. And it's like it changes the way you think about everything, and you just see people picking different poisons off the off the shelf, and they're just feeding their body this. It's like it's not good for you. It's not. Yeah.
Let's see. I want to share like a little similar story of mine. Yeah, because like you mentioned that you were like trying all kinds of hack to increase your productivity, right? So in the past, I had this loneliness problem. So basically, I would always want to get girls because like I felt lonely. I want a girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I would watch like a lot of videos on how to get girls. Like
Yeah.
they will teach you some tricks. For example, like when a girl texts you, how you should reply, how fast you should reply. Like just some techniques that you can utilize to help you get girls better. Yeah. And I guess after I went carnivore, my mental health improved. So I didn't really have that kind of loneliness problem anymore. And in general, I'm just like happier. So when I'm interacting with girls, I don't need to be conscious about all those techniques. I can just kind of like be myself, and
True.
I would be like automatically doing things that the videos will teach you, if you know what I mean. Yeah,
That's
I feel like
that's a
it's kind of
really, really
similar.
good point. It's like you're addressing the underlying issue, and then the rest, it just flows from there. That's exactly
Mm,
right. It's like, yeah, you can learn the technique to text, and you say these words, and it's just gonna unlock her, and she's gonna fall in love with you. And it's like, or the underlying thing is you could just be polite and interested in their lives, and they will respond back to you. You don't. That's exactly right. We're trying to fix the things on the surface without going deeper.
like if you are just that kind of person, you wouldn't need to go out of your way to do that. You will just automatically do that.
Yeah, that's exactly
Mm,
right. I mean, I had very very similar story. Like when I was single, it's like, well, like what are the best ways to like talk to a girl to find so that she finds you attractive and things like that. And I think I was just talking to a friend about it, and they're just like, well, yeah, you just be interested in them, ask them questions, and
mm,
that's all you need to do. It's like, you know, you don't have to do all the hacks or the right techniques or anything like that. Yeah.
let's see. I want to know a little bit more about like the improvements your wife saw, because let me just start with this, because I think you mentioned that she was like a carnivore in the beginning, and then she started to eat more like fruits, something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, can you
Yeah.
just tell us a bit like how she was feeling on carnivore versus like on animal based?
Yeah. So her first couple of weeks, she actually got pretty bad diarrhea, which is quite common. And I think I don't know. This is just from what I've observed, from what people have told me online. This is not scientific or anything, but I've found that maybe women might need a bit more time to adjust to the fat content of eating on carnivore. I don't know. Sometimes they get a bit of like an upset stomach. They might get diarrhea or all sorts of things. And so, I mean, to them, I would say, um, I would do a transition period for females, and guys seem to be better at just going straight into it. They seem to be able to handle it a little bit better. That's just what I've observed. But yeah, Sada, her she let's see. So she was strict carnivore for the first, it was like 30 or 40 days. And she found also she helped with her mental clarity, but I think she's a pretty smart woman, so she didn't need much help in that department. So I think it was a bigger change for me than it was for her, but she did definitely noticed it. She lost some weight, which she was pretty excited about, and the fat that she was on her body was starting to fall, and so she was becoming a lot more trim, which she was excited about. And I mean, we were doing the same exercises we did before the carnivore diet, and it so we didn't change anything about our routine other than what we ate. So it was nice to see some weight loss results without even having to work harder at the gym or anything like that. And I mean, she was pretty healthy already, so she wasn't really struggling with any significant health problems. But yeah, that was probably she just felt better.
嗯，
She did, and then when she started introducing fruits, that didn't go too well. And so she's still eating fruit, but she's doing it because she knows it's naughty and she just wants to eat fruit. Like, it doesn't make her feel any better, but she's still eating fruit because she just likes having that sweet treat, I guess. And it's not like a long term thing or anything like that. But yeah, she wanted to eat fruit. Maybe she just struggled with just eating meat more than me. And she's always been like very into fruit. Like, she really, really likes fruit. And culturally, Colombia has a lot of fruit and they really like it too. So she's still having it on the side, but that brought in like some headaches, some upset stomach, which she didn't have before, even some dizziness. Actually, that's actually a big thing I forgot to mention. So before
现在不知道是我的网络断线还是Jordi 的网络断线，我们稍等一下，看起来不是我的，目前我这边应该是没问题。嗯，他不见了，稍等一下。目前聊到一些蛮有趣的话题，就是譬如说，可能对于传统医疗的一些不满，然后还有他经历到的各种好处。听起来他之前的这个消化健康有点嗯辛苦，大概是这样。不知道为什么不见了。 我来传讯息一下。Sounds good。给大家看。我跟他说我会等他10分钟。刚刚他还在讲，Jordi 回来。Can you hear me?
Sorry about that. I think my
No
internet
problem.
just cut out.
What were we talking about?
So we were talking about Sada. What are the benefits
Uh.
that she had found, and now she's introducing fruits. So
嗯
what I was about to
Dizziness.
say was the dizziness. Yeah. So she used to get really bad dizzy spells before the carnivore diet, and then all through the carnivore diet it improved, but we didn't really realize she was just living normally. And then when we realized when we reintroduced fruits and they came back, and we're like, oh, wait a minute, you weren't just getting those dizzy spells, now you are. So she knows it's not good for her, or doesn't seem to be agreeing with her, but she really likes the taste, so she's still doing it.
That's understandable. I feel like if you think that's worth it, you have all the rights to do it, I feel like.
That's right. I do tell her that you shouldn't be on it, but she doesn't do it always, but it's like, but she just can't help it.
Yeah, maybe the dizziness is not so bad. It's just a little bit annoying. I don't know.
Yeah. It's not I mean, it's not good. It's really not good, but it's not she just has to like take things slow when she gets up. Yeah.
Okay, I see. Let's see. Did you face any difficulties? So you can look at this from the angle of like craving or affording your food or like getting the food you want. Do you have any problems?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It was pretty tough in the first couple of weeks. It takes some discipline. I think I was in a strong habit of snacking. So my favorite thing to do would be to just grab a piece of fruit while I'm working, just to snack on, or just grab something from the fridge. But then with the carnivore diet, eating requires cooking most of the time unless you've pre-prepared your meals. And so you can't just go to the fridge and just pick something out to eat. So I was in this habit of always going to eat between meals. And so I had to break that because I would keep going into the fridge and just realizing I can't eat anything. And I would have strong sugar cravings as well. Like we would eat, and then afterwards we would feel like something sweet. And we got around that in the first. So this happens like the first week is the strongest. The first 2 weeks can even still be there, but if you can stay strong and don't give in for the first 2 weeks, you'll go away. But for the first 2 weeks, I would grab like a glass of milk or something if I had a strong sugar craving, and that just seemed to like soothe that, just so I could get through those initial weeks. Yeah, so there are some difficulties. Yeah.
I see. What about like getting the meat you want or like affording them?
Yeah, that's a good one. The carnivore diet can be quite expensive if you just want steak, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That can get quite expensive, and I think different countries and different regions have prices of meat can be different. As some people let me know in the comments that they wish they could do it, but unfortunately in their area meat is very expensive and it's a luxury item. But there are ways you can do it a lot cheaper. So and maybe it's different in your area, but for me, like ground beef is quite cheap, and eggs, and so that really does take majority of our diet, as we have a big breakfast which has like lots of eggs and beef mince, so it's actually quite cheap. And then we would buy things like chuck steak, or you could do like beef brisket. So these are quite tough cuts of meat, and so they're a lot cheaper, but you have to have like a slow cooker, or I have a pressure cooker. So it's very similar with the slow cooker. So it cooks all day and tenderizes, but with the pressure cooker, you can get it done within like an hour rather than cooking all day. So I prefer the pressure cooker because I'm a little impatient. So that's a great way of getting the costs down and more economical. And so you can like get a lot of big beef brisket, and then that will last you like a few meals, like across the week. And so I did find that it did balance out. I don't felt like it was costing me more than what I would normally pay for normal food, because you don't buy anything else. And so like things like sauces and things like that can be quite expensive, but they really add up. And other processed foods can be expensive too if you're looking on a normal diet. Also, if you get fruit and vegetables, if you can buy them out of season, sometimes they're more expensive, like your favorites, and they also can go off in your fridge, and then you've wasted all that. So I did find that it did balance out. You can do it way more expensive if you have the money and you want steak, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Then, well, good on you. For the rest of us that have to watch how much we spend, you can do it very economically with things like mince and beef brisket and chicken, and what are some other ones? Pork can be cheaper too, and yeah.
So sounds like you usually buy foods that are more affordable.
Yeah, so we'll do some sort of mix. Like we'll buy
Mm,
some steaks or something that will be like a treat.
mm.
So maybe like a couple of dinners we'll have some steak. But the majority of what we eat is keeping it affordable. Yeah,
Just try to find a balance.
exactly.
So,
And everybody's budget and balance would be different. But yeah, we do balance it out because it has to be sustainable. We're not
mm,
just doing it for 30 days now. This is our life now.
mm. Would you say would you say that if you could just like eat whatever you want when it comes to meat, you would always opt for steak? Just curious.
I think I do think steak would be my favorite,
Uh,
definitely number one. But what we actually have for breakfast, we look forward to it, and sometimes
mm,
we'll have it for dinner as well because we're like, oh, this
mm,
tastes so good. It's just like we love like fried eggs or boiled eggs. We just find it just delicious. And then with the beef mince, and you sort of like put some cheese in the middle. Oh,
mm,
that's good too. That's
mm,
good too. But steak is pretty supreme.
mm. So I guess both have their places.
Exactly. That's right.
Mm,
They do. They do.
okay. So like before you went carnivore, you were like eating fruits regularly?
Yep.
Mm.
Yep.
What
My
other
favorite yeah.
what other sweet foods were you also eating?
Like I was mentioning that I would make my own granola, which was made
Mm,
with honey, and I would have that with yogurt.
mm,
Um, and so that was quite sweet. I
mm,
don't
mm, mm,
have a strong sweet tooth, um, but I loved like corn chips and stuff like that. That was not a good thing to eat. But yeah, fruit. So apples, oranges, bananas. That they were always my go-to. I would have them every day.
mm. I feel like the more sweet foods you eat, the harder it's going to be when you go carnivore in the beginning because
Oh
the
yeah,
craving
yeah.
is probably stronger.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. The friends of mine that loved sweet food would eat chocolates all the time. Some have tried the carnivore diet, and they're the ones that struggle the most. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I think you mentioned a nice trick, which is drinking milk. I feel like that can help a lot.
Absolutely. I think it is. Just having a glass of milk, just because I don't know whether it's something that we've trained in our brains that we have to have a meal and then have dessert. And maybe you're used to doing that, but having a glass of milk just, yeah, really helps with those sugar cravings.
But also, if you want to just eat some fruits or milk in your meat-heavy diet, I think it's still a very good diet. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think so too. I think if you can't live without fruit, well, I think if the majority of what you're eating is from an animal, so yeah, meat or eggs or something like that, if that's the majority of what you're eating, I think you're going to still reap a lot of benefits from the diet. I agree.
But like judging from your wife's experience, adding fruits can be pretty different when it comes to like the beneficial part of like carnivore diet.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's better to like we said, eat all the food and you can still have some fruit. Um, but is it the best? Maybe, maybe not. If you don't experience any negative symptoms and you're still having fruit, great. That's good for you. Keep doing that. But if you still feel like you're experiencing some issues with whatever you're trying to fix, or you're just not feeling the best, maybe you do try and cut the fruit. But yeah, that's I think if your majority of what you're eating is meat, I think that you can get a lot of benefits from it.
Hmm. So you mentioned that maybe you ate some cheat meals during this journey.
Yeah.
Aside from that, how strict have you been? Like, so for example, when you eat out, do you eat some suboptimal foods?
Very strict. So I had a couple of bad meals over Christmas, but everything else strict. I didn't eat out.
Oh,
We
you
just
didn't eat
we
out.
just didn't. Yeah.
Mm.
We would buy things like there's something called, it's from South Africa. It's called biltong, and it's like beef jerky, but the South African way. And so that's something that we would buy that was out and maybe not as good because I think they would have some herbs or spices in them. But that was to help us on our road trip because eating on the go can be very, very difficult on the carnivore diet. But we were very, very strict. Uh,
Mm.
but I was having coffee, which coffee is not technically carnivore. But just recently, I've been looking into stopping that. So, but very strict, except for coffee.
Mm,
That's how
mm,
I'd
mm.
say. Yeah.
Okay. You sounds strict to me. Yeah, because
Yeah. Well,
I know like
yeah. Do
everyone
no
has
spices or anything.
different like standards. Yeah,
That's
so
right.
for me like strict means that when you eat out, you don't eat things with not optimal sauces. Like you just don't eat not optimal sauces. If you sometimes when you eat out and you eat some whole food with not optimal sauces, that's not like entirely strict for me, but it's still pretty
Mm,
strict. Yeah.
mm.
But
I
so
would
it
say
sounds like
I would agree with
you
that
are like
too.
it
Yeah,
sounds like
but
you haven't really been eating like not real food.
that's right. That's right. And
Because like
we
sounds
wouldn't.
like the jerky you were eating is still like made with natural things.
Yeah, well, that was like that's exactly right. And
Oh,
that was
okay.
only like one time, and that was probably not the worst thing that we ate. We did have like I had like a chocolate or something over Christmas.
Mm-mm-mm.
Um, but the majority of what we did was very, very strict because I wanted to experience what the full effects of this diet would be. So I didn't want to have any sort of extra herbs or spices or anything like that. I didn't want anything to interfere with possibly something that would help fix my health. And so we didn't eat out at all. And so it's very hard socially too. So we would see friends and, we would normally go over for dinner. But we would have to eat before we would go. Or maybe we'd bring our own food and they have their own food. Yeah, it is very difficult socially. So I don't know whether now that we've done a considerable amount of time, very, very strict, I don't know whether we then will just have the occasional bad meal, but at the same time, it does really affect our health. So maybe we just keep being strict, and unfortunately, we just can't be as flexible when we go out for dinner.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on your goals. So like, I went carnivore roughly in April 2022, and I would
Wow.
say,
So you've been carnivore for a while now.
yeah. So I
Wow.
would say, like, in the beginning, I definitely ate junk food more often because I still have my old habits. So like whenever I ate out with my family, if I see some ice cream, maybe some days I will feel like, I want to eat some ice cream. It probably is not going to hurt. Yeah, but like as I became more used to this type of lifestyle, it kind of felt like it's not worth it. Yeah. So I
Mm.
gradually
And how
became
would you
like strict.
feel like if you ate the ice cream? Would you notice a difference?
Um, I don't really remember honestly. Yeah, but I don't think I noticed anything major. Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
just like it's kind of like disrespecting myself, or like
Mm.
um I just want to like be pure, if you know what I mean, because like
Mm.
you kind of feel like you are like a king if you just don't eat junk food at all. Yeah,
You
but
feel so good. That's right. Yeah.
if you break the streak, it's kind of like, oh dang it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
That's
but like,
exactly right.
yeah, so in the beginning I was like maybe eating some junk food, not often, just like rarely, but I would do that. And then I became like, oh, I don't eat junk food. I don't eat any
Mm.
not optimal sauces. I became very strict. And
Mm.
then recently, I would say I became a little less strict. So
Mm.
I don't eat junk food. But if I feel like it, like for example, if I eat out with my family and there are some meats with like maybe not optimal sauces, I'll think about it. It's not going to be like, oh, I don't want to eat it. I'll think about it. And if I feel like I want to eat this today, then I might do it. Yeah,
I think that,
that's my
and to me,
strictness.
that sounds very reasonable. I think that's you're still respecting yourself, but it's also, hey, we're living in a world that doesn't cater to carnivores very well, you know? And so
Mm,
I think, look, some people, they can't because either very serious health concerns, and if they break once, it goes downhill. Two, some people, if they have a bad meal, they will go off the rails and they will not
mm,
follow the carnivore diet and they will just go a dark path because they can't control themselves with food. And so they have to stay very strict. But for others that they know they could probably have a steak with some sauces, it isn't the end of the world if you
mm.
know that tomorrow you're just going to go straight back to it and this is the way that you are. It's like, I don't really see, yeah, much that sounds strict to me. That sounds great.
Mm, mm. Okay. Yeah, but I feel like um it's definitely a plus if you are just like super locked in. Yeah, you will feel
Yeah,
confident.
absolutely. You feel your best. When you've been doing the carnivore diet well, you feel really, really good.
Hmm. Just also like you are very sure that you just are very like locked in. You are very, you really care about what you eat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
It's
see.
good to have that self-respect too.
So it sounds like you have been pretty strict. Yeah, it's understandable that you maybe in some occasions want to eat junk food. Yeah. Especially you're just like not long into the journey. Yeah. Do you plan to be like strict for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, I do. I think this is how I eat now. At least at like home. You know what I mean?
For
Like
sure,
at
for
least
sure.
when I make my own food, this is what I make myself. Like you said, if it's a social event, you're at someone's wedding, something like that, look, maybe, or Christmas or whatever. To me, that doesn't bother me. That doesn't seem too crazy that you would have something that you know is not ideal for your health. But yeah, I do think this is how I eat now, and I think it's important to allow for keep this sustainable, because I would like to eat this for long term. And sometimes if you're too strict about it, and you can it may not be that sustainable for you, because you might just get rid of it completely. But only like I said, only if you can go back to carnivore, no problems, or it doesn't cause you like really, really bad health problems.
Yeah, I think those are some good points. Can you tell us a bit again, like what happened when you ate some cheat meals?
Yeah. So this was over Christmas. There was like one, I think I had some pizza, and the other one was just, I think, some chocolates and just some snacks that were around. Yeah, so my face immediately broke out in eczema. Um, my I started to feel bloated again. I would end the day just like my stomach would feel really tight. And I just lost that energy that you have on the carnivore diet. I just yeah, it wasn't as um energetic, so I would just feel a bit more fatigued and run down. Um yeah, and my sleeping wasn't as good, and just general stomach discomfort, and it was only like a couple of meals, but I really felt it. And I just couldn't wait to like, oh, I just can't wait to get back to strict carnivore. Just couldn't wait. Like, get me back on this diet. It was not like, wow, finally get some pizza. It was like, oh my goodness, I don't want to eat junk ever again. Like that's horrible.
That's a nice learning experience.
Yeah.
But here's the important question: what was your favorite junk food that you ate?
Actually, we got this like rack of ribs. We went out to a like a steakhouse. There was a huge rack of ribs, and it was like covered in sauce and stuff. It was like, so it was like, it was still meat, it was still carnivore, but I knew it was like probably cooked in seed oils, covered in sugary sauces and stuff. So I knew it wasn't great, but it was so delicious.
Okay,
It was so
nice.
yum. Yeah, the pizza was, it wasn't a great pizza, to be honest. It
Oh,
wasn't worth it.
okay, okay. I see. So that's not the worst. Your favorite one.
Yeah.
Mm,
And
okay.
there was some fried chips on the side of the steak too. I
Oh,
had a few of those, and look,
mm.
I gotta be honest, they're pretty good too.
Nice. Okay, let's see. How popular is carnivore, would you say, where you live? Because I know Dr. Anthony Chaffee, he is based in Australia. I feel like there
Mm.
are some like famous doctors that talks about this kind of diet that are from Australia.
It's probably popular. It's, well, okay. First of all, it's not popular. But
Mm-hmm.
I can see why there's some Australians doing it because we really like meat, and
Mm,
it's we have a lot of available land that we can
mm,
do like farming and things like that. So I think part of our culture, meat has always been part of our culture. So, but I don't think it's very popular. Um,
mhm,
a lot of people, yeah, did question what I'm doing. But I tell you what, it may not be popular, but a lot of people around me are now trying it. May probably because I've tried it and I do speak so highly of it, and they have done their own research and now trying it. But I probably know 7 people that have now started the carnivore diet since I started. I didn't know
mm,
anyone that did this, so it's not popular. Um, but through what I've been speaking about, they've decided to give it a go, and that's what I would say. I'd say just give it a go and see. I would say like 30 days, and then if you don't experience any changes, well, maybe it's not for you. But I'm pretty confident that they do. So,
mm,
um, in Australia, it's still very on the cutting edge. It's very on.
mm.
It's like, oh, so you only eat meat? It's yeah. We just went through a whole phase of veganism just swept through the country, and everyone wants to be vegan and eat vegan now. So this is the next thing.
Mm, okay. But I guess for some people, they can give carnivore a try, and then they don't want to stick to it. I think that can
Mm,
happen.
yeah, absolutely. And look, it's their choice.
Mm,
As much as I would love to try and convince them to do it, and I think it's the best thing. Like I have a friend who is doing it. He'll do it for a while, but then he'll want to have like some chocolate, or he'll want to do sweet potato, or he just wants to add more variety in his diet, and he's just not ready for that. And I understand that because I was like that once, and it did take a bit of a big health scare for me to really get
mm,
me committed. Um, but yeah, there are lots of people, and where the government or the whoever could say, come out and say, carnivore is the most healthy diet in the world. You should do it. People still won't do it because
mm,
they want to eat what they want to eat. And
mm, mm, mm,
as much as we think, well, you're doing your body a disservice, that's just what people do. And they'll
mm,
maybe hopefully one day they'll learn and give it a try.
mm. But I feel like people should at least have the rights to know that this can be pretty good. Yeah,
Oh,
because I feel
absolutely.
like many people just don't know this.
I think so, and I really, really hope that someone somewhere is putting a lot of money into researching this diet and finding out. And let's get the facts. Like we've got a lot of, and there are, and don't get me wrong, there are people that are doing these studies, but um, yeah, let's get some undeniable proof. I think we've got a lot of stories, and a lot of people are talking about how it has changed their lives. Well, yeah, let's back it up with some evidence too.
Hmm. What do you think? Just like people in your society generally think about meat, just this food. Like, do they think this is a good food?
I think as a society, we, like I said, we generally would eat lots of meat, but I think there has been a common trend. It's probably the last maybe 5 or 6 years is like demonizing meat. So saying things like that red meat is unhealthy, that you should reduce the amount of meat that you're eating. And that is common. Like, um, I mean, I was one of them. I was someone that didn't want anything from an animal. I thought that was so unhealthy. I thought it caused cancer and all sorts of problems. So I do think there's a hesitancy. I think so in my culture, people love meat, but I think there's a hesitancy about it. Like, oh, you can't have too much, or you can't have meat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Mm.
You can't have meat for breakfast. That's crazy. That's no, you have to, I don't know, have cereal or some something else that they say is what you're supposed to have for breakfast.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I do think there is a little bit of hesitancy around meat. Mm.
Mhm. Okay, I see, I see. Sounds like similar to where I live. Just like everyone likes to eat meat, but feel a little bit scared to eat it. Yeah.
Yeah, to eat a lot of it. Yeah, I think it's very similar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's a
Hmm.
shame. It's a shame because if you think about it, it's like, but that's real food, and that's what we've been eating for centuries. It's like it's the world's oldest diet. Is what we used to eat before there was a civilization. We would go out and hunt and try and get meat. We weren't hunting for berries. We were hunting for meat because that's what we wanted. Somehow we were smart back then that we knew we couldn't live off the land. We had to go, yeah, we had to go eat something, like eat an animal. Or
Hmm.
yeah, then we started like, yeah, we would have cows and we could have milk and eggs and then you could eat the animals. Just yeah. It makes more sense once you really think about it. These are natural foods, and they contain. I don't think people realize that meat contains a lot of vitamins and minerals. You know, I was just speaking to a friend this morning, literally this morning, and he was saying, so what what do you eat other than protein? I think they see meat as only having protein. It's like actually no, red meat has most of what you need in your everyday life with all the vitamins and minerals. It has most of it. We don't see it as like a superfood. We say
Mm-mm.
kale is a superfood, but actually red meat is a superfood. Has so
Hmm.
much in it.
You can actually feel it when you eat, I think. You just feel like,
Absolutely.
oh, I get so much from it.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's exactly right. That's right.
Okay, I want to move on to some other topics. So I want to talk about like content creation.
Yeah.
And I think I often see that your account is like collaborated with some other bigger accounts. Did you used to have some relationships with them?
No, so y- no, so I would just reach out to them because so bit of backstory. I was posting on TikTok before I was on Instagram. I saw because this was literally to zero, no one. This was I didn't even follow my own account. This was something that I wanted to I didn't want my like friends and family to really know what I was up to. This was something private that I was doing, my diet, but I wanted to just share it like publicly, like maybe the effects. And I just didn't want the pressure of the people that I actually personally knew knowing about what I was up to. But um, so I started posting on TikTok, and uh, started to people started to watch and gain some traction. And I was like, oh, okay. So people are very interested to see what are the results, what I'm up to, what am I eating, some tips and things like that. And so then I was like, well, I better get over to Instagram because actually, yeah, there was some people that were taking my content and posting it as theirs without crediting me. And so I was like, oh, well, I'm not on Instagram. I better get on there just so that, yeah, my stuff's going there. So then I just started from day one on Instagram so that people could follow along on the journey. And yeah, so then I started just reaching, I would just put I would see these accounts and they wouldn't post their own content. They would share other people's content that they thought was interesting and their audience would like to see. And so I noticed that that's what they were doing, and my wife was pretty involved in this aspect of things too. So wasn't just me. We've been doing this together, and yes, so we saw that we could invite them to collaborate. They don't have to accept, and if this is something that they think their viewers would like to see, then they would accept.
Mm, mm. Okay. So let
Mm,
me kind of summarize. So you started to post on TikTok,
mm,
and did you create like a separate account?
Separate
Oh,
account from scratch.
okay.
I didn't have any sort of presence on TikTok before that.
Oh,
I didn't even really use the platform before I started posting on there.
oh,
I just wanted
okay.
something new, like that was outside of my current sphere, and
Oh,
just to put it out there, as because I didn't expect anyone to really even see this. This was
mm-mm.
just something that I was just doing on the side. So I
Interesting.
just wanted to pick a platform I wasn't even really on
Mm.
and just
Oh,
put
so
it on there.
like you chose not to post on Instagram because you didn't want your like friends to see it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
would happily tell them, but it
Mm-hmm,
was
mm-hmm,
more like I just wanted to, without the pressure of like your friends and family, because if this didn't work out or whatever, like
mm-hmm,
if I don't know, I just didn't want that sort of
mm-hmm,
pressure on this diet. I just wanted to keep it quite neutral.
mm-hmm.
So I didn't, yeah, my friends and family didn't even know that I was posting. My close friends knew I was on the carnivore diet. I wasn't hiding that, but it was more the fact that it was like, yeah, just the fact that I was posting about it.
Mm, okay.
Mm.
And then later you created like another Instagram account to just to how do you say it? To have the videos you already made.
Yeah, that's
I
exactly
see.
right. That's exactly right. I,
Okay.
I realized that people were starting to watch and were liking it, and so there was, yeah, there's a whole bunch of people on Instagram that would probably like to see it too, and so I started posting. So currently Instagram is a little bit behind, um, because I started Instagram from day one as well, so that people, yeah, were able to see the whole journey. But at the moment, I'm catching it up. So
Mm,
within like 10 days or something, both will be posting at the same time. But at the moment,
okay.
it's like just like 10 days behind. But yeah.
So do your friends know that you are posting already?
Yeah. So it's pretty funny because I don't tell people, but I can tell. So, and then they'll like see it and they'll be like, oh, I didn't know you were doing this. And it's really interesting because they only start to see me if they're interested in the carnivore diet. So I find it's a really great way to me to find out of who of my friends are like researching about the carnivore diet because I'll show up
Oh,
in their feed.
mm,
And so they'll
nice.
be like, oh, I didn't know you were posting about this. I didn't know you were doing the carnivore diet. And they'll be like, oh, I just saw you randomly because I was looking at something to do with carnivore diet or something like that. And so it's been very interesting to see as people start to discover that I've been doing this.
Mm. Now they can seek advice directly from you because you are more professional.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, I don't know what they think of the videos that I'm making, but yeah, they can see.
Hmm. So sounds like you already had some experiences making videos.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
That's what I, yeah, used to do. I do like my day job is 3D work now, but my before that I was doing videography and video editing. So um, yeah,
Hmm.
some
Okay.
experience in
What
that.
you were like making videos for others,
Mm, yeah,
and
advertisements
where
and
do they
marketing.
post their videos?
So I was doing like website videos, company ads, so that would be played on social media, and I've always had like a bit of a interest in social media, like the creator side of social media. especially like things like YouTube, and it's been very, very fascinating to be a creator in this space now, and looking at things like engagement and what resonates with people. I think it's very, as a creator, it's been very fascinating to get real-time feedback on the videos that you create, and what people like, maybe what people don't like, when people tune out. It's been very, very interesting discovering that. It's almost like been like a side, yeah, like just a side hobby for me, just discovering about and the different platforms too. TikTok versus Instagram versus YouTube. They're very different, and it's been very fascinating learning about that.
So, sounds like you didn't have a lot of experience when it comes to like running a social media account, but you had experience like making videos. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I did have some. Yeah, so I had experience in video editing, but I did have a little bit of experience with growing a social media in the past that I did. I was teaching people how to do videos on an Instagram account, and that got to like 3,000 followers or something. It was really hard. It took a lot of effort, and we really, really worked hard on it. But Instagram, there was something that happened. It was like a glitch that we have never been able to fix. That no one could tag us. We couldn't even tag ourselves. Like no one could at us, like what our name was, and it just like it was very heartbreaking because it's like we put all this effort in, and then Instagram, for whatever reason, I don't we have no idea what caused it. There's just no explanation. There's no one you can call and be like, hey, why is my account doing this? It just like, yeah, it really, it just made all the effort that we were into just not seem worth it anymore. So that was a few years back. So we had done a little bit, but that was for like something completely different. And we did it in a completely different way. It was actually using images, not video.
Mm.
But there
But
was
you
a little
did
bit,
have a bit of experience.
a bit of
Mm.
experience. And also when it comes to like content creation and video creation, you are always thinking about how this would be perceived online. Will this engage people? And so it's always been in my mind. It's always been something I've thought about. Even when I'm scrolling through social media, I'm
Mm.
looking at it, I'm like, oh, so what kind of things are they doing? Like what kind of editing techniques, or um, the way they communicate. I just want to learn, and I want to learn how they do it, and why am I engaged? And I would like to do that as well. So
Mm.
it is
You
like
are,
something I do think about a lot.
you have always kind of been interested in this. Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
sounds good. So like, I'm pretty sure you definitely have been like getting haters. I don't think that's not possible. I don't think that's like, I mean like it's definitely, they are definitely going to be haters. It's impossible that you
Yeah.
didn't have haters.
Yes,
That's why.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And there's also, yeah, especially with the way this diet as well. I get some angry vegans that are on
Oh,
my account, and
mm,
and they're telling me I'm doing the wrong thing, and everything like that. Yeah, I guess so. Not
mm.
too bad. Like I'm not getting crazy abuse or anything like that, luckily. But it's the internet.
Mm,
Internet's a crazy place, and it's like I've yeah, people. I'm not for everybody.
mm.
That's for sure. So some people won't like it, and that's okay.
So sounds like you have been like handling this like okay.
Yeah, it's to be honest, it's more positive than it is negative. It's definitely really helped. Like the comments that I get are very, very, very helpful, and I try to read as many of the comments as I can, and because they just give such helpful advice. Like I just posted a video on Instagram, and it was about my parents considering the carnivore diet. But I was questioning it because at their age, is this a safe diet for them? Because everything that we've heard at this point is like cholesterol. This is dangerous. And so, I just kind of posed the question, and then I'm getting all these comments from people that are is very similar ages and saying that they've been on it for multiple years, that they feel great, that the doctor says they're doing great, and so that's like really helpful. So it has been, and it's been teaching me, like people are saying, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, you shouldn't be using that salt, you should be using this salt, and all these sort of things. And I do take it on board. I can't follow all of their helpful tips and stuff, but it does, like it really does sink in, and I'm like adapting what I'm doing based off the feedback.
I think this is a pretty overlooked good thing about posting your content. You are not
True.
like only helping others, like you can get help from others.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Yeah. There is a lot of benefits
Nice.
from people. I don't know whether this is just a carnivore thing, because I don't think it's ever been like this before, but I think the carnivore community is just really open to helping each other, and it's I do like compare it to how the vegan community is as well. And I do think maybe the carnivore diet isn't as religious as like the vegan diet. I think if a carnivore diet or had a piece of had a vegetable or something like that, I don't think they would get that much hate from many carnivores. Some probably would, but I don't think they're going to experience much. But then if you're a vegan and then you eat some fish, whoa, look out. And I I hope the carnivore community doesn't turn into that, because that's horrible. I think we need to be, not, this is very important, and I think people should eat like this. But if they don't do it the way that we think they should do it, I think that's okay. At least they're giving it a go.
That's very nicely said. Your understanding about vegan community, is it from like, did you follow some pages? Like,
Yeah,
what's
just follow
the
some
understanding
pages.
from?
You hear stories as well, especially of like vegan influencers, and then their doctor tells them that they have to have some fish, and then their whole vegan community leaves them, and they've been publicly shamed because they're not following the strict vegan rules anymore. So it's just what I've observed. But
Okay.
me being quite involved in the carnivore community now, just kind of injecting myself, I'm very new. Um, Open arms. Everyone's happy, and I'm not doing it perfectly. I'm still having coffee, and I'm showing that I'm having coffee. I'm not hiding it. And I, no. Carnivores will say you should probably be cutting your coffee out, and that's plants, that's not carnivore. They'll tell me that, but it's always done respectfully. And also I think we're focusing, that's not the main issue, we're focusing on other things as well. So it's been very good.
Do you right now make one video a day, or maybe some days you make 2 videos?
So I'm doing one video a day. But at the moment I'm posting 2 times a day on Instagram to catch it up to where I am on TikTok. So if you're following on Instagram, I am posting 2 times a day, but that's not what I'm making. So I'm trying to do a video a day. But I'm also wanting to include a little bit more quality, and just spend a little bit more time on each video now. So it may not be every single day, but it is most days. Yeah.
So
So
maybe
some I have to spend a bit more time on.
maybe at one point you are going to start not like documenting every day. Maybe just update here and there, and the quality will
Maybe.
be better.
Maybe. I really enjoy doing a video a day. It's a great challenge. To write, film, edit a day, because I write a script and usually it's a voiceover. Or just talk, what do I want to talk about? What am I focusing on? But I do like doing it. I really, really do. And it's it's just the challenge is what do I want to focus on? And it's usually about what I'm thinking in that day. So, for example, are fruit and vegetables healthy? Unhealthy? Is this what it's about? Like, we've been lied to that fruit and vegetables. That's like what's going on in my mind. So I just have to like interpret that and put it onto paper. So there's usually something like that going on that I'm thinking about that I want to talk about. Yeah.
Okay. How much time would you say you spend a day on making videos, just like for your social media?
It would take about like 2 or 3 hours a day. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been like, I'd do my work, and then it'd be like the end of the day would really be consuming my time. So I don't have much free time at the end of the day anymore.
Do you think it takes a lot of like discipline?
Yeah. If you want to do this every day, it definitely takes discipline. It's just more a priority thing. So I've decided to prioritize it. If I didn't expect people to be interested, or so many people to be watching it, so I think I wasn't planning on it being so involved in my life, but I think just seeing the community and the people that are coming around the videos that I'm making, it makes it worth it. And because I think if you scroll down all the way to the bottom and to the start of my videos, they weren't very well produced. I was just filming on my phone. I was just keeping it very easy. It wouldn't take me long. I think I would just hit record and just post whatever it was. But as people were watching, I really wanted to value their time that they're spending on watching me, that I would like put a little bit more thought and effort into it. And so it does take discipline, but also like this is my area of interest as well. So it's not a grind or not too hard for me.
Has it been like difficult to talk about some controversial topics, or like just put yourself out there in general?
It's definitely been difficult to put myself out there. Is probably the one I struggle with the most. I'm typically a private person, even though here I am on social media, just like sparing all. But I know people appreciate when someone is honest and just lets you into their life. So I think what I struggle with the most is maybe sharing more about my life. I think I'm really focused on the food, and very focused on the carnivore diet and everything like that. But I think I know this is something that I need to work on, is that I want to share a bit more about my life, like a bit more about who I am, maybe what I do for work, what's my day-to-day look like. Just letting a little bit of more insight into that, I think, is something that I would really like to do, and something that I have to work on for myself.
Okay. All right. So that's kind of related to my next question. We are coming to an end. Yeah. We have talked for a long time. So,
Yeah. It's been good.
do you have
It's good.
do you have any plans when it comes to your diet and just life or content creation plans?
So many plans. Well, keep going on the carnivore diet. That seems to be going well. Sada and I are thinking about So we're getting a lot of people that are asking us like, oh, do you want to do recipe? Like, do you have recipes? Do you have meal plans? Or, I don't know what to eat. I don't know what to buy. We're getting a lot of these questions and, oh, can you send me what you eat in 7 days? And it's like, it's a fair question, but it's also like, it's going to take me a long time to write down just for this one comment, everything that I've eaten all week. But it's actually something I should probably start writing down. And maybe this is something that we could share with them. So we're thinking about what that looks like. I'm not a chef or anything. So for me, it feels like, oh, me making recipes, like that's interesting. But I think people are just looking for like meal ideas or just want to see how other people do it. So we're looking into that. But also, like, I really want to find a way of talking to the people that are really interested in what I'm doing, and that like watching my videos. They can comment and I can reply to their comment, but we don't really have a way of like interacting. So I would like to, yeah, because I just want to get to know them. Like, who are these people right now? They're just, yeah, just strangers behind the screen, but I would like to get to know them too. So I'm looking for ways. I think that's probably the next step is getting to know who's interested in the carnivore diet and happens to be interested in the videos and our lives too and what we're doing. So yeah, I really, really would like to get to know them and talk to them more. I love when they message and we chat and stuff like that too.
So that's the diet part. Let me kind of
Oh,
summarize.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you want to maybe create some meal plans with your wife, and you want to, I guess, become more involved in the community.
Absolutely. I do. And
Mm.
I want to get to know them. I want to know, yeah, who they are, what are they struggling with, and what it like benefits have they found from the carnivore diet. I mean, you're doing a great job interviewing people, and you really get to know someone when you're like talking with them. So yeah, I just want to build a community of people where we help each other as well, like not just me as well, because there's other people that have had different experiences to me that someone else can help them with as well. So I just want to find out, yeah, who they are, and I want to get to know them better. And so just looking, yeah, to build a community.
Mm. And do you have any other life goals?
Life goals.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I would I want to be like my healthiest, that's for sure. And Sada and I will start a family soon. We were not trying or anything, but in the next like few years, we would like to start a family. And so we really think it's very important for us to be our healthiest before we have a baby, because that's gonna, yeah, I think that's gonna help the baby in the long run if we are really, really healthy. So we're looking to be at our best before we have a baby. So that will be really, really exciting, and I think we're on the right track for that. And my goal for this year, I wrote it down. It's very superficial, but I would love to have abs. If this carnivore diet could give me abs, great.
Nice. Okay. So yeah, we are coming to an end. Do you have any like final messages to whoever that's
Well,
listening?
yes. Well, look, if you're already on the carnivore diet, keep going. Um, and if you're considering it, just try it. That's all I would say is just give it a go. And yeah, you might get lots of questions or concerns from people around you, family, especially if like in Taiwan, it's like it might be frowned upon, or who knows, culturally, and your family can understand that. but your health is really, really important, and you can prove them wrong with your own results.
Nice. Okay. So, Jordi, that's everything I want to cover for today. Thank you very much for your time, being willing to come here and share your story.
It's been good.
Let me
Look, yeah, I would do it again. It's awesome.
Okay, so let me wrap things up in Chinese, and I'll end the live stream. 好，各位，那我们今天呢国际交流时间就聊到这边为止。哇靠，聊了2个小时又20分钟啊，很猛很猛。如果你对于这样的内容有兴趣的话，记得持续锁定我的 IG，像是我的主账生蛋侠 Leo，或者是生蛋侠俱乐部这个放翻译影片的账号，然后还有我这个直播到时候会发到我的 YouTube 频道上，这个也可以关注一下。我消息主要会发在我的 IG 主账号上面啦。对，那大概是这样子，我们就先直播到这边。Jordi, do you want to say goodbye to people?
How do I say goodbye in Chinese?
You can say bye bye. That's in English.
Bye bye or what?
Oh, let me give you another one. So
Yeah.
再见。
再见。
Yeah, 再见。
再见。再见。
OK， 再见，拜拜。
再见。